Hello students, we will see the second unit in civics, that is central government. Central government is also a very important part in civics. Why? Because central government is the most supreme government found in Indian government. All the states has got its own state government, whereas central government is the head of all the state government. And it is considered to be the most supreme power under the Indian Constitution Article of 52 and 78 Part 5. Under central government, we have three subdivisions. The three subdivisions consist of executives, legislature and judiciary. Why we have three subdivisions is because basically we are all human beings. We may tend to make mistakes knowingly or unknowingly. In order to have a check on them, we have three subdivisions under the central government. Say suppose judiciary makes a mistake, executive and legislature will have a check on it. Suppose the legislature makes a mistake, executive and the judiciary will have a check on it. With a broad mind, the Indian Constitution was framed with a broad mind to favor its people, not to scrutinize them. That is the main concept why we have three subdivisions under the central government. First is the executive. The executive consists of the president, the first citizen of the country, then the vice president, the prime minister and the council of ministers. Council of ministers, the group of elected ministers. They are called as council of ministers. Next is the legislature. The legislature is the parliament. Parliament is in New Delhi. The parliament consists of the Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. Rajya Sabha consists of 238 members and Lok Sabha consists of 543 members. These 12 in Rajya Sabha and 2 in Lok Sabha are nominated. They are not being elected. Whereas this 238 and 543, they contest in election, and if they win in the election, they will become the member of either Rajya Sabha or Lok Sabha. But these 12 and these 2 are nominated by the President of India. On what basis they will be nominated? They will not contest in the election. But if they have done a fair job in any of the field like art, architecture, literature, science, any outstanding performance will help them to be nominated. Like how our APJ Abdul Kalam, he did not contest in the election initially, but he was being nominated, he was being selected by the president for his outstanding performance in the field of science. Next is judiciary. Judiciary consists of the Supreme Court. All the state has got its own court, and we have our judges. And our court is in the Tamil Nadu. High Court is in Chennai. Under judiciary, we have Supreme Court, the Chief Justice. Supreme Court is in New Delhi. The Chief Justice, the highest position above all the judges and other judges as well. So this is all about the three subdivisions which comes under the central government. Now we will see about what is the qualification required to become a president of India. Basically, age he should be above 35 or above 35. That is the first quality required. Before that, the president is the supreme commander. He is also considered to be the first citizen of India. Whoever sits in the position of the president, he or she is considered to be the supreme commander-in-chief. Next is according to Article 53, he contains all the executive power. The executive power comes into his hand. As already I told you, the executive consists of the president, the vice president, prime minister and the council of ministers. So all their powers is under president's control. Next is this qualification. As already I told you, Age is very important. He should be 35 or above 35, and there should not be any cases filed against him. He should not come under the criminal list, and his background, that is his past life, should not have any black mark on it. Then he should not sit in the position of, he should not be a member of Rajya Sabha or a Lok Sabha. That is very important. And also he should not be employee of the government. These are the criteria which is very much required. Next is how he will be elected. Actually, he will be elected by the electoral college. What is an electoral college? Electoral college consists of both the members, elected members of Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. These people put together, they will take part in the election. We common people will not cast any vote for the president election. Only these elected members of Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, the members of the parliament, will take part in the election, and they will select the president by casting the vote for whomever contesting in the election. So according to Article 77, whoever becomes the President of India, all the union action, after that, anybody who becomes the President, after that, any action being taken, any rules come into existence, any emergency, any kind of action taken by the government will always be taken in the name of the President. No individual can implement their rule without the knowledge of the president. So every action which is being taken by the government members will be taken under the name of the president. Next is the Prime Minister and the Council of Ministers will be appointed by the president. He will appoint the Chief Justice, he will appoint all the Supreme Court judge, he will appoint all the other members, like very important members like the Election Commission, head of the Election Commission, then the judges, all these people, the Chief Minister, everybody will be appointed by the Prime Minister. The Council of Ministers also, the Prime Minister also will be appointed by the President. These are the basic powers, these are the basic powers, executive powers given to the President. Okay, next is the legislative power. The legislative power, he inaugurates the session which takes place in the Parliament once in a year or twice in a year, or depending upon, people will gather, all the elected members will gather in the Parliament to discuss about the future, the proceedings of the country, what to implement and what not to be implemented. That session will be inaugurated by the President. He will inaugurate, he will start, and he will be there, to recognize the meeting. Next is the law of acts. The law of act is nothing but any rule which is being framed. Any rule which is being framed. For example, during the COVID, what we said, nobody should come out without the mask. Everybody should wear a mask. That is the rule what we've been following from the month of April 2020. That is being said by the government. Why? In order to protect the public, but that is the rule. So who framed the rule actually? It will be framed by both the members of the Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha. There is an emergency, there is a requirement. So it will be framed by them. The permission has to be taken from the President, and then only it will become the laws of act. Before, that is when it becomes a laws of act, only when it is being recognized by the President, it will become the laws of act. Till that, it will be called as a bill. So once it is being recognized by both the houses and the President, and once the bill is being passed, when it comes for implementation among the people, it is called as the laws of act. Not only for during the COVID, but all the other bills, everything. Not to smoke in the public, to adhere to the traffic rules. There are so many rules and regulations set by the government. Everybody should wear a helmet. So all these are rules and regulations which are being framed by both the house members, recognized by the president, and then it becomes the laws of act when it comes for implementation. Next is he selects the members, that is he selects the members of the Rajya Sabha. They are 12 members, and the Lok Sabha, that is the nominated people. Nomination I am talking about, not people who have contested in the election, not them, only nomination. In Rajya Sabha, he nominates 12 people. Nominates in the sense, he selects people who have performed, who have given an outstanding performance, like in the field of art, architecture, literature, science, technology, any kind of area, but who is given something in an outstanding performance. As already said, example, our Dr. APJ Abdul Kalam, he gave an outstanding performance in the field of science, and that's why he was nominated by the President of India. So in Rajya Sabha, he can nominate 12 people who have given outstanding performances. Next is in Lok Sabha, he selects people, he nominates people even from the Anglo-Indian community. They can be from the Anglo-Indian community or other community as well. Next is he is the one who has to recognize the annual budget. When does our annual budgeting takes place? From the month of March to April. That is the annual budgeting. This annual budgeting cannot be done without the recognition of the president. Next is according to Article 72. According to Article 72, this is the judicial powers of our president. So under Article 72, he's got all the power to reprieve, pardon, and respite. Reprieve in the sense, or pardon in the sense, he's got all the rights to forgive. Say suppose somebody is being arrested for doing some kind of criminal activity, and due to some reason, if the president comes forward to pardon, that is to forgive the person and let him free, he's got all the rights to do it. On the other hand, if he respites to commute the punishment, if he wants to the person to be punished for his action, he can do it immediately. That right is always vested in the hands of president. Next is the military power. Under Article 53, subdivision 2, where he is the head of the defense force. Defense force, nothing but the army, navy and the air force. He is the commander-in-chief of the defense force. Next is the diplomatic powers. Diplomatic powers bringing in the diplomats. For example, we have Indian consulate in other countries, as well as we have the foreign members staying in India. So these kind of diplomats will be sent as well as will be accommodated in India with the help of the president. Without his knowledge, this cannot be done. Next is the emergency power. The emergency power, he can declare emergency nationally, state-wise and financially under these articles. Nationally under the article of 352 and state-wise 356 and financially 360. He can declare emergency on the whole for the country if required state-wise, and if there is any financial crisis, any problem in the finance, he can go in for emergency. Next is the removal of the president. How can a president can be removed, or how can he come out of this place? That is, either he has to resign, the resignation has to be written in a letter format, and it should be handed over to the vice president. Next is the impeachment. Impeachment means removing of the person from that particular position according to Article 61. How can you remove the person from that position? Is because he is being elected not by the public. He is being elected by the members of Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha. If they are not happy with the ruling system of the president, they can withdraw their support, whatever being given by them, they can withdraw it. And if the support goes less than 1/4 of the total members, that is even less than the quarter part of the members of both Rajya Sabha and Lok Sabha, then he can be removed from his position. Apart from that, if the president wants to leave his position, he has to wait till the other person be elected, and the other person have to come and take the position. The already existing president has to wait in the same place. Now we will see about vice president and prime minister. Vice president, according to Article 63 of Indian Constitution, will be indirectly elected. He will not come to the position through direct election but through indirect election. Okay. What are the qualifications required to become a vice president? He should be either 35 or above 35 years of age. Then he can become a vice president. He cannot hold any profitable position in the Indian government. He should be a citizen, and also he should be qualified to become a member of the Rajya Sabha. Then only the person can be selected to the position of the vice president. What is actually the vice president is doing? The vice president, the main job of the vice president is to maintain political continuity. He is like a support, a backup for the president. That is the main job for him. Next is, as already said, according to Article 66, Subdivision 1 of the Indian Constitution, he is being indirectly elected. Any person from the Rajya Sabha who is already been elected, that person also can be selected as a vice president who's got lot of experience, because he's going to accompany the president, the head of the country. So who's got lot of experience about the government and and whatever the happenings of the country, will be selected as the vice president in an indirect manner. What are the criteria followed under the removal? Either the person has to resign, the vice president should resign, or if he dies. On the other hand, if the members of both the houses majoritarily they say they withdraw their support for the vice president, then the person can be removed from his position. And before removing him, he has to be given a prior notice for 14 days, before 14 days, so that another person can be replaced in his position. What are the functions of the vice president? He has to take care of the proceedings of both the houses. There can be any decision made, it has to be taken to the next level. Those kind of proceedings will be taken care of him. Next is the order which is being passed by both the houses. Next is, he's got all the rights to resolve any issue in the parliament or among both the houses, and also he's got all the rights to question about whatever is being taking place. This is all about the vice president. Next, we will move on to the prime minister. According to Article 74, Subdivision 1 of the Indian Constitution, Prime Minister is considered as the head of the Council of Ministers. We don't call them as group of ministers, we call them as Council of Ministers. So he is going to be the head of the Council of the Ministers. Who can become a Prime Minister? A member of Lok Sabha. That too, he should belong to the majority party. There will be two or three different kind of political party, people belonging to the political party who have been elected and won in the election will be sitting there. So any one will be a majority. Say suppose one party has got 60% of vote, 60% of seat, and other two has got 20. Three different parties are there. The party which is having 60% of seat will be considered as the majority. So any one person or the leader of the majority party can become the prime minister with the support of the house, the member of the houses. Next is, what are the functions of the prime minister? According to Article 78 of the Indian Constitution, he decides the rank of the ministers. So after becoming the head, all the ministers, the council of ministers, he will decide their rank. Next is he decides the dates and the agenda of the meeting. Any gathering which takes place will be decided by the Prime Minister himself. Next is he supervises the work of the ministers. We have ministers for every sector. For example, like fishery, tourism, medicine, education, health, travel. So for every department we have a minister who's taking care of all these activities. So he has to check whether the minister is doing his job or not. That is all his work. He supervises the work of the ministers. Next is comes a decision of the ministers to the president. Now, as already I told you in the beginning of this chapter, every happening will be done in the name of the president. So anything which is being decided by the council of ministers should be disclosed to the president, should be informed to the president. So who is going to take in charge of informing the president? It is the prime minister. That is his one of the main duties. Next is representatives in all the conference. We have a conference taking place in all foreign countries. So who is going to represent India? It is our prime minister who will be representing in India in other all foreign conference meetings. Next is he becomes the leader of the nation. He is considered or he can be called as the leader of the nation, whereas president is called as the first citizen of the nation, while prime minister is called as the leader of the nation. Category of ministers. Now we see about the category of ministers. We have cabinet ministers, ministers of state and deputy ministers. Who comes under the cabinet ministers? Experienced, aged people who's got a lot of experience being a minister. They form an informal body. They discuss about the important events and important rules that will be implemented in the country. They could be seniors in the government. They form the cabinet ministers. Next is ministers of the state. Actually, the cabinet ministers, they gain the highest position among all the ministers. Next is the ministers of the state who are in charge of the departments. They have nothing to do with the meeting, but every department the government has allotted ministers for each and every department. As I already said, for the field of tourism, roadways, electricity, government schools, hospitals, private schools, CBSE or matriculation, education field. For all the departments, we have individual ministers being appointed in order to take care of it. So these ministers come under the ministers of the state who are into action. Next is deputy ministers. Deputy ministers, they have the lowest level, they gain the lowest level among all the ministers. What is their work? Either to assist the cabinet ministers or the ministers of the state. That is the main job of the deputy ministers. Next, we will go to the parliament. Parliament is a legislative organ where you have both the houses, that is the Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha. It has got three parts, that is the president, Rajya Sabha and the Lok Sabha. These three are the content of the parliament, which is considered to be the legislative organ. We will see about the Rajya Sabha in detail. The Rajya Sabha consists of 250 elected members. Among 238 are elected members and 12 people are nominated. I have already explained about this nomination. What should be the qualification? What is the qualification required to become a member of Rajya Sabha? You should be 30 years and above. You should not hold any position in the Indian government, any profitable position in the Indian government. You should be conscious. You should be sound enough. You cannot have mental problem and you cannot become a member of Rajya Sabha. And the term of the house is 6 years. You can be there for once you are elected. You can do your work for 6 years. but every 2 years, 1/3 of them retire. And re-election will be continuously conducted for every once in 2 years in order to fill in the seats. Next is they are being elected by the members of the state legislative assembly. They do not contest in the direct election. They are being elected by the state legislative assembly. Next is they are into indirect election. They are not into direct election. These are all the important points of the Rajya Sabha. Next is we will move on to Lok Sabha. That is the lower house. This is called the lower house, and Rajya Sabha is called as the upper house. In Lok Sabha, 552 people will be elected. Among them, 530 will be from the state, and 30 will be representing the union territories, and 2 will be from the Anglo-Indian community. You should be either 25 or above 25 to contest in the Lok Sabha election and also to become a member of the Lok Sabha. This election will be conducted in a direct manner. These people will be elected directly by the people. Once in 5 years. Their tenure time is 5 years. Next, the most important part of Lok Sabha is in this election, the direct election, we follow something called as universal adult franchise. Any citizen of the country has got all the rights to contest in the election. They should be above the age of, they should be either age of 25 or above, and they should not come under any criminal case or against the government. They should not be into such an activity. They should be sound enough, that is, they should not have any mental illness. Apart from that, anybody, irrespective of their status, caste or creed, has got all the rights. He can be a man or she can be a woman. Anybody can contest in this election. That is why I said we follow universal adult franchise in the election of the Lok Sabha.